Hi, everybody. I'm Katie Mills, and I'm here with my teammates Sue Mills, Sarah O'Neill, Lauren Rebecca, and Mike Adams. We're going to give you a brief overview of what we saw in the real estate market and in 2020 and what we see looking ahead to 2021. It's hard to believe that it was 11 months ago that we had our first lockdown due to the COVID pandemic. And we've all been spending a lot of time at home, and our homes have become our offices and our online classrooms where we exercise. And this, along with other demands, have really made a lot of people question whether they need some more living space. So we're going to look at how this incredibly strong buyer demand, along with low levels of inventory of properties for sale, record low interest rates, and consumer confidence have all worked together to produce an incredible real estate market over the past year. Transactions are up and prices are up, all good news. Right now, Lauren's going to talk to you about kind of the one exception to that, which are the Toronto condos. So take it away, Lauren.
Thanks, Katie. Yeah, so it's no question the segment of the market hardest hit by the effects of the pandemic were the Toronto condos. And frankly, it's no surprise. We really saw a significant shift in supply and demand for condos once COVID hit. On the supply side, we saw a surge of inventory that came from investor sellers who faced the ultimate perfect storm of challenges renting out their suites. And so they decided to sell. And this was then coupled with less demand as people started realizing they didn't need to be downtown for proximity to work. And in spending so much more time at home, thought, I could really use some more space. And so we saw some buyers who would regularly fall into the downtown condo segment make purchases outside of the city where they could afford larger homes. And this supply and demand shift throughout 2020 resulted in a 13% decrease in average Toronto condo prices compared to February 2020, right before the pandemic hit. Now, what's interesting is that by about December last year, we were already noticing more buyer activity in the downtown market, start to pick up. Properties started selling quicker, and we saw many more multiple offer situations happening. Both December and January stats show a massive increase year over year in the number of condo sales that happened in Toronto. January was up 85% in sales compared to 2020, which was before COVID. Now, truthfully, it only seemed like a matter of time before we saw this shift. With the help of lower interest rates and now improved affordability, plus increased savings over the past year, and the general confidence that however slowly, COVID is going to go away, and there is a good chance of returning to work downtown in at least some capacity, many people now find themselves ready and wanting to buy downtown condos. So far, January's numbers show a stabilizing of condo prices, and it's our opinion that the bottom of the market has already been hit. Forecasting for the rest of 2021, we predict a fairly flat first few months for condos, which will likely gradually increase price-wise in the second half of the year, accelerating quicker once immigration and in-person learning return to the city. We've been saying this a lot recently, but it bears repeating. If you've been considering the purchase of a downtown condo, now and over the next few months really could be a great time to do so.
Absolutely, Lauren. So 2020 saw a record high number of real estate sales across the Greater Toronto area. There were just over about 95,000 transactions, which was an 8% increase in sales over the previous year and the third highest number of trades on record. As we kick off 2021, January has proven to be just as strong, with sales in the GTA up over 52% compared to last year and prices up over 15%. As many people prioritize getting more space and deprioritizing their workplace, it's not surprising that the areas in the GTA surrounding the city of Toronto are seeing the strongest growth. In fact, 2/3 of last year's sales took place in these outlying communities. Areas like Brampton, Oakville, and Durham, from Pickering to Oshawa to Clarington and Port Hope, have seen insatiable buyer demand. The supply of available homes has not been able to keep up with this demand. In areas like Brampton and Durham specifically, there are currently less than half months of available inventory for sale. This means that if no other properties were listed for sale, that those areas would be sold out of real estate in just 10 days. That is absolutely insane. In the recent weeks, we have been involved with a number of sales with 20, 30 offers. In fact, on New Year's Eve, believe it or not, my client and I were one of 40 offers competing for a house in Clarington. For every property that gets sold in these situations, there are still dozens of buyers left over, still trying to buy real estate. This imbalance of supply and demand has put tremendous upward pressure on selling prices. Many of these areas, particularly in the 905 district, have seen prices increase from 15 to 20% over 2019.
Thanks, Michael. And it's so true. And throughout the pandemic, it's really been a story of supply and demand, plus low interest rates. So since COVID began, many people have chosen to and have luckily been able to stay in their homes, including many empty nesters like me, who have delayed their plans to downsize into a condominium, preferring to stay in their homes over more communal and higher density living. So this has created a limited supply of available properties, while at the same time, there's been a larger demand for homes from people like first-time buyers, investors, and move-up buyers who have experienced job security and who have been able to take advantage of these record low interest rates to get into the market or upgrade to larger spaces. In fact, we've never seen interest rates so low, with some lenders offering 5-year market mortgages at less than 1.5%. These rates are about half of what they were just a year ago, which has the effect of dramatically increasing buyers' purchasing power. So at the onset of COVID a year ago, it was hard to predict the impact the pandemic would have on the economy and people's job security. What's become clearer is that some sectors have obviously been hit much harder than others. The entertainment industry, hospitality, and travel sectors have been decimated, primarily impacting a lot of renters in the city. However, other sectors of the economy, those who have historically been the home buyers and homeowners, haven't been hit quite as hard. At the outset, we also didn't know if people would be able to pay their mortgages, but the government quickly stepped in to allow mortgage deferral programs. And while many people took advantage of the deferrals, it's reported that less than a quarter of 1% of all mortgages in Canada are actually in default, which is great news. So while we feared the worst, and there's no question there's been too much pain and suffering, both financially and emotionally throughout this pandemic, the GTA housing market has not only survived, but has actually escalated and thrived throughout the past year.
Around this time last year, as we headed into our first lockdown, with so much unknown about the virus itself and the impact it would have, we didn't know if we'd even be allowed to sell another house all year. But real estate was deemed an essential service right off the bat. And from day one, we had clients who had sold and needed to buy. And more stressful, we had clients who had bought and needed to sell. But certainly none of us anticipated the crazy year that was ahead of us. But it really all makes sense. Most home buyers and most homeowners still have their jobs. People are home, they're not traveling, they're not going out, they're not entertaining. They're really not spending money on anything but food and housing. So people are saving like they've never saved before, and people are actually paying down their mortgages. So as we look back over 2020 and look forward to 2021, the Toronto real estate continues to show incredible resiliency and is proving once again it's virtually bulletproof over the long term. So with the hope of vaccines and hopefully light at the end of this long COVID tunnel, even the hard-hit condo market will continue to show greater signs of strength as schools and businesses can reopen, immigration continues to open or can open. And we also expect that the market for larger condos will rebound as people are more willing to leave their homes and move into those communal spaces we've been talking about. So one of the big unknowns still continues to be when businesses and offices will reopen. Some people will return full-time, some will return, will continue to work full-time from home, but we suspect that for many people, it will be a hybrid. And we're so interested to see how it unfolds and people's willingness to commute long distances once the highways get busy again. So in summary, we're very optimistic about the future of the Toronto market, the future of our great city, and forecasts could be that prices might even rise another 10% this year. So we're so grateful to live in Canada. We're so grateful to live in Toronto, but mostly we're grateful for you, our so loyal clients and friends and family. And if we can help in any way, please just let us know. We're absolutely here.